Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video looks at the three sectors of production: primary, secondary and tertiary, and we're going to give examples of types of business that operate in each sector. So the sectors of production are also known as the supply chain, and I'll start off with a quick example of your book and then I'll come back and define some of these terms. But the point I'm making is that every good, every physical product goes through each of these sectors of production. Now, if you take an exercise book, the sort of exercise book that you might write in school, that was at one point a raw material. At one point, that exercise book was a tree. And that tree was cut down by a logging company. The logging company is in the primary sector because in the primary sector, businesses in that sector source raw materials. They deal with raw materials. That tree may have been sent to a factory. The factory is in the secondary sector, where raw materials are transformed in some way into a finished or semi-finished product. In other words, they take a raw material and they transform it into something else that's more useful. Finally, the product would have been sold to you, if you've had to buy it directly, or perhaps the school, through a business in the tertiary sector that provides services. So every product goes through these sectors of production. Businesses in the primary sector are involved in the production or extraction of raw materials. Every finished product, from bits of furniture to computers to televisions, cars, all of these products have got raw materials involved that need to be in some way either created, in the case of like wheat or agricultural products that are grown, or they're extracted from the earth in some way, perhaps through mining or something like that. So in the primary sector, businesses are involved in the production or extraction of raw materials. In the secondary sector, those raw materials need to be transformed into finished goods in some way. Bakeries, factories, construction companies that are building houses, all of these companies are taking these raw materials and are transforming them into a finished product. The tertiary sector are businesses that are involved in providing a service to customers. Remember, a service is something that you cannot touch. Banks do this. I've got a bank account, I can't touch it, but I have got a bank account, that's a service. Cleaners, supermarkets are providers of a service. Now, I know that you buy physical goods in a supermarket that you can touch, but we classify retail as a service because they are putting the goods on the shelf for you, putting them in one place, they organise that. They're providing a service to you, they're making it really easy for you to collect those goods. So they're the three sectors of production. Here are some different examples of businesses. You may just want to pause the video and categorize them into the different sectors of production. So hopefully you've got something that looks like this. Well, we've talked about the trees there in the primary sector. The fisherman is in the primary sector. They're in charge of sourcing raw materials, i.e. fish. Farmers would also be in here, and the mining company as well, extracting raw materials from the earth. They're all primary sector businesses. In the secondary sector, we've got the paper mill, we've got an oil refinery, we've got a factory, and in the tertiary sector, a hairdresser providing a service, school providing a service, education, search engine providers provide a service, you can't touch it. And a restaurant as well provides a service. Now, just final point on the restaurant. Sometimes they might ask, they might give you businesses that appear in both the secondary and the tertiary sector. So, for example, the restaurant takes raw materials, it takes foods, it transforms them into meals. So, therefore, it's a secondary sector business. But it also provides a service. Somebody comes and takes your order, they pour your drinks, they wash up for you after your meal. That's a service. So some businesses may be classified in both sectors of production. For example, the oil refinery, if they're extracting the oil as well before they refine it, that would be primary sector, extracting the oil from the ground, secondary sector, transforming it into petrol. But nice and simple, three sectors of production: primary sector, dealing with extracting raw materials from the earth. Secondary sector, transforming it into something else. Tertiary sector is pretty much anything else. They provide a service.